Hello everyone. Today actually I'm starting a 10-day video making challenge. So I will be recording one video every day and sharing. And for today's video I was thinking of doing a video on my composting system. This composting system I designed myself using plastic water bottles, the large size bottles, to actually provide the space where the composting can take place. And I did that last year when there was a period when we did not actually get the regular water supply, the drinking water in the big recyclable bottles, so we had to buy these smaller bottles for water, and I had a bunch of these lying around. And I was also wanting to start the composting system, and so I just thought one day, like, what if I used these plastic bottles to provide the space where composting could take place. And so this composting system was born, and I am happy to say that it has actually worked very well. I started somewhere in May of 2020, and now it's been over a year, and all the kitchen waste from my kitchen I have actually composted here. And for almost last whole year I was actually even trying to compost the pits, like the mango pits, avocado pits, but what I found was that these pits actually did not even compost after a year. So now I have stopped adding them to the compost, and I actually throw that out in the trash. So that is really the only kitchen waste that I'm actually throwing out. But other than that, all of it just goes into the composting system. So now I'm going to walk over and show you what the composting system looks like, what are the different parts, and how I do the composting. And I'll probably ask my husband to help around with that part. So now I am in the yard area, and I am going to show you the composting system. So these are the plastic water bottles that I was talking about. I think these are a 12-liter size, and I have about 12 or 14 or 16 of these at any time. And I just start the compost. This is the one which would have like the latest 16 of these at any time. And I just start the compost. This is the one which would have like the latest compost, like just started, and then I kind of go around, and the ones in the back are there for the longest. So I typically start like a bottle a week, or maybe like a bottle and a half a week. So this is what the compost looks like after it's done in about 12-14 weeks. This is Riyadh, so temperatures are really hot, and compost actually is done a little bit faster. In the winters it was taking more like 16 weeks, but we are fortunate to have a big yard, so I can just let the compost system be without having to make sure that the process goes fast and I'm running out of bottles. So that doesn't happen. I just keep some extra bottles on hand. And before last year I actually used to take the time to actually sieve it out so that the compost actually looked better, but I've stopped doing that because I just wasn't so excited anymore about getting the compost, so I didn't care how pretty it looked. So this is the brown leaf. So this is the main other ingredient other than the kitchen waste that I use for providing the browns for the composting to take place. And this is again my extra stash of browns. So I usually ask people who do the yard keeping in our compound to provide me with these browns, and now I have like a good supply. Will probably last me several months. So now I'm going to actually go and get the kitchen waste and probably start a bottle to show how I do my composting. Okay, so now I'm going to start the compost. So this is one of these bottles I have from before. It's been used and recycled. So to keep the process simple, I'm going to do it over here. So this is the kitchen waste. It's the fruit and vegetable peels. And I usually like to wear gloves while I'm doing this. So I start with putting the browns in the bottom. So these are just dry leaves. I've used all different kinds of leaves, and I put a little bit of the kitchen waste. It does smell a little bit gross because it's been a little while since I've kept it, maybe a few days. And then I also put in a little bit of the previous compost to provide some more dry material, and then I just keep going with the layers. So browns, the old compost which also serves as a brown, and the kitchen waste which serves as a green. And there is no hard or fast rule that I use. If for some reason there is not enough brown, usually when I do the next round, for example like a week later or 2 weeks later, I will just turn them inside out to provide more aeration. And I just make sure that it's covered with about 2 to 3 inches or more of the compost, so that it doesn't smell so bad and doesn't attract any pests. But that's it. Now I can just leave it as it is for the next 10-12 weeks, or if I want to make the process a little bit faster, I can just turn them around. So I guess that helps too. But that's it. The composting has started, and now I can just start another bottle in another week, and that's it. So now that I have shown what my composting system looks like, just wanted to share some interesting things. I actually turn the bottle upside down because that helps with the drainage, so which is important. Otherwise if there is too much water in the wet or the green material, it's going to make composting difficult. It's going to smell, it's going to almost rot. So that's why turning it upside down helps with the drainage. Other way to circumvent this problem of too much water is just having more brown dry material which can soak up the water. So that is the reason for doing it upside down. Other than that, for me, my biggest challenge when I started was just not providing the drainage. So initially the videos that I had watched talked about making sure that it was wet enough, so I actually added water in the beginning, which just made a big mess. But once I figured out that in my case, making sure that there was a place for the water to drain, and that there was enough dry material to absorb that water, kind of then made the process fairly straightforward. It's fairly low maintenance. I don't have to do a lot of turning and aeration if I don't feel like it. um, Sometimes I've had someone come in and do the tossing and the turning and the aeration of the compost when they are cleaning the yard, and then sometimes I've just let the system be. So it's fairly robust. It does need that amount of space though, um, and of course there is the space needed for the extra materials like the brown leaves and for keeping the compost. um, the other things that I had there, like potting soil and all that, so that I guess also it helps if you have an interest in gardening, so then you can actually use the compost for the plants and the yard and things like that. So I think now I've shared whatever I had in mind about sharing this composting system, and I feel good about recording this video earlier in the day, so that now I only have to edit it, just combine it and then post it. But since I have a new laptop, so I am probably going to figure out how to do simple editing, combining different video clips and things like that in my MacBook, and post it on my channel. So thank you for watching. Bye. I hope it was something you found interesting, and if it if it makes you want to start your own composting system, that would be awesome. Like, that would really make me happy too.